Hello and welcome back to the PMP Videocast. As always, I am your host Brian, and today we will be exploring the nostalgia economy, the places and people who sustain and facilitate retro collectible hobbies, the fleas, thrifts, and grifts, as well as those who profit off the past, or more accurately, others desire to relive or preserve their past. We will be seeing how items travel through different networks into the hands of the personalities who dedicate their present to pursuing the past. This is to promote the release of my book, Nostalphobia Volume 1, The Nostalgia Economy. It focuses on the nostalgia economy and follows a group of consumers, collectors, and resellers, their memories, and the places of their lives, both past and present. The audiobook will be dropping on Patreon in the next couple of days, with the ebook to follow. $5 gets you access to those and dozens of other videos and series like feature film, moral media, and helps keep all this going. Patreon.com/pixandportraits. Now, everything starts with a memory. It doesn't have to be from your childhood, but rather anything you hold close to your heart. It can be an event, a person, an entire period of time, something you remember fondly. This gets tied to an item, not necessarily a product, but most of the time retro collectibles are products, toys, games, comics, movies even, and those fond memories and the feelings they evoke get put into these items. We can't think of them without being brought back to those times, and vice versa. They are linked together in our minds. Not everyone lives in the past or keeps memories current or alive. This is something I'm often reminded of in my life, and the first personality we are going to be looking at is the consumer who does just that. The person who bought an item when it was new, enjoyed it at the time or in the time, and left it there, packed it away, sold it, or put it out with the trash, threw it away. Most people probably fall into this category. They buy things, they enjoy things, they move on. Others can't move on. They need to keep and collect certain items, the collector. In our video on monetizing nostalgia, we looked at some negative aspects of collecting: debt, compulsion, and anxiety. Because of their obsession, collectors fixate on items as well as other factors like condition, rarity, value, its place in a set. Some people gotta catch it all and won't be satisfied until their collection is complete and they can move on to a new one. There are obviously levels here. Not everyone who collects is hyper-obsessive. To some people, it's just a fun hobby, but others do let it consume them. This is not a one or the other type thing. Collectors can be consumers who just never got rid of the stuff they bought. Consumers can become collectors, maybe after selling the stuff or getting rid of it and having to buy it all over again at a higher price point because some things increase in value. Depending on the item, this jump may be drastic. There were only so many copies of certain things made, it's a finite resource, and depending on the item, it may be in demand. Life is hard. Individual struggles, getting older, decreased quality of life, it's tough. And looking back to the past, we sometimes tell ourselves that these were the good times, the good old days, whether that is true or not. The title of the book, Nostalphobia, The Fear of Going Home, literally, that's what it means, but I use it in the context of confronting the possibility that the good old days weren't that great. It's possible, it's subjective, but for many people, returning or recapturing the past fuels their collecting. The third major personality in the nostalgia economy is the reseller, which in a lot of ways is a product of the internet. Buying and reselling has existed as long as commerce, but this very specific context really grew out of values becoming known by being posted online. Collectibles are valuable. They can be worth a lot of money, and the people who have them and maybe aren't aware don't know that. Again, there is some overlap. Collectors and consumers can both sell at market value and profit, or even flip, but resellers exclusively buy low to sell high. They might consume, but they don't collect. The main motivation is money. It's a job or a side hustle. Again, times are tough. In the last 10 years, interest in retro collectibles and reselling has exploded thanks to online influencers showing off their hauls and how much money they make reselling. It's entertainment, so how accurate or real these things are is up for debate, but the market has shot up. We will talk about this more in a bit. As we saw with the consumer, outside of the manufacturing process, a product's life begins at retail. Retail has changed a lot, but as we are talking about retro products and collectibles, I'd like to take a trip to the mall. Something else that has kept alive in people of certain ages' memories, many have disappeared. There's an entire genre of videos here on YouTube around dead malls. Malls were once teeming with people, and many today are now empty. Stores have closed, physical media has declined, something else that gets pinned on the internet and online shopping. Our memories of items can be intertwined with purchasing them, going to the mall with friends, siblings and parents, hours spent killing time, spending money, but for the most part, that's when the item was new. If you didn't buy new, there are a few other places or ways it can get into your hands. A big one, and my personal favorite, is yard sales, garage sales, swaps, community sales, or events. These are put on by individuals looking to declutter, maybe make a little bit of money by placing unwanted or unneeded items out for others to buy in front of their house. Time was, you could go to a yard sale and find great deals on many items. If you lived in the same neighborhood, it stood to reason your neighbors would have these same or similar interests as you. There is also flea markets, the OG resellers. These are usually several different vendors, all operating their own business, offering wares at booths in the same building. It can be similar to a bunch of yard sales, or way more organized. Auctions, these are especially popular with antiques. Items are auctioned off, people can bid, compete with others. For retro collectibles, the biggest auction is online, eBay, which started back in the 90s. Individuals can list an item, and people from all over the world can bid on it. There are a few downsides, mainly fees. eBay takes a big chunk of profits, so sellers often increase the amount they're charging to offset this, but that means buyers have to pay more. You're paying for that convenience. There's other online marketplaces, Facebook, Kijiji, Craigslist. Not always the safest. There is risk or danger in meeting up with strangers to exchange money for valuable items, but people do it. Secondhand or thrift stores, like yard sales somewhere else, used to be able to find some really great deals, but those days are long past. You may still find a steal at smaller thrift stores, but for corporate or church thrifts, the grifts, well, they know what they have. Over the past few years since the pandemic, interest in retro collectibles has exploded, and people have caught on. Resellers camp out all day in thrift stores, harassing and waiting for the employees to put out items they immediately snatch up. They do the same with yard sales, showing up before they are even set up. You used to have to know what was worth money, but now there are apps you can just scan every item and see the value, and resellers do. They hover over the back room, waiting for the new stock to come out. Anyone can do this with enough time on their hands. I'm sure it didn't take long for thrift store employees to report this and have it get to corporate or head office that, hey, something is going on with certain items, and then prices increased. Traditionally, thrift stores have catered to economically disadvantaged people, but thrifting has become more and more chic, and reselling has really taken off. Shopping secondhand is now a luxury. This is reflected in ad campaigns. It's cool, it's trendy, but the original purpose was to offer a more affordable place for people who couldn't buy new to shop at. And now they can't afford to. A lot of these stores masquerade as charities still, but they are all about profit. There is a great subreddit, r Thrift Grift, that shows just how out of control some thrift store pricing has gotten. A lot of it is guesswork. There are variables in pricing, also legitimacy concerns. I've seen bootleg Pokemon games going for well over $100 at my local thrift store. The staff isn't trained to spot them, and neither are most consumers, unfortunately. There is also the belief that all retro equals money. Sure, some things are very valuable, looking at games, but some thrifts see shovelware and believe it's worth more than it really is. There are also specialty retail stores around various hobbies, comic shops, used game stores, nostalgia shops that carry all sorts of curated things from the past, but you're paying. Memories of the good times cost a lot of money. It's easy to blame this on resellers, and I will, but people are also paying these prices. Collectors need to collect. They need their fix. Now, retro collecting or collecting is not limited to older things. Limited edition new products based off of older franchises get released all the time. They are very expensive, especially if you miss out on the initial drop and have to pay on the secondary market. There are communities and markets around buying and selling these. It's also not limited to older people. Nostalgia is a funny thing. You can have it for anything after any amount of time, whether that thing was of your time. The example I always give is bands. You can be nostalgic for listening to Led Zeppelin in high school, whether it was in 1976 or 2016. Our credit score binds us a lot more than the year we were born, and while there is a lot of talk around what is going to happen once younger generations who didn't grow up with as much physical media, or any physical media, or as many physical toys, grows older, what will they buy and collect? Honestly, I think younger people will just become interested in collecting the same things older people do. These things are not really that old. The franchises they are a part of, or bands, are still relevant, or they will make a comeback. And it's cool to own things. In the past, I have collected vinyl despite it not being sold at retail for much of my early life and my adolescence. People like retro collectibles, and there is money in it. Of course, the whole market could collapse. I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. What are some of your collecting memories? Be sure to give us a thumbs up. It helps out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't. And again, if you had the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon. You will be able to read or experience my book there, enjoy a ton of exclusive videos, and help keep everything going. Patreon.com/PixandPortraits. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.